Okay, so if that's too loud or it's echoing.
What do you want?
Chat. No, there's a chat.
Wrong phone.
I have.
So chat, everyone's favorite, right? Everyone's heard
Oh,
chats.
yeah, they do one just like, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So chats make a lot of sounds. They're cute, right? Oh, chats. Aw. But when you're in the right habitat, chats never shut up. Now, this could be less of a problem in the habitats we're going to be serving.
I don't know where it is, that particular.
I think it might.
I have it here,
That's
Jenny.
Sibley's.
Okay.
Do you have a Sibley's?
Yeah.
Oh, I do too.
So, and I also feel like chats, when they hear you playing a cuckoo call, start doing that little knocking that they do, which sounds very similar. Like you're bringing it out in them. Okay, you're like, oh, is that what we're doing? Okay. And they start calling back, like, I heard a cuckoo. Wait, it's a chat. And the main thing to listen for is when they make all these other crazy sounds. Okay, so this doesn't have it, but they do a knocking call too when they want to.
Yeah, they do.
That is so similar to a cuckoo. Now they don't do the koala, but they do a knock. That sounds incredibly convincing. And they will do it, I think, in response to you playing the call. That's my thing. So we're doing it too much when you be out there on the San Pedro. They never stop. Their little knock. So then we listen, and if they followed it up with some of that other yellow-breasted chatter, then we knew it was a chat. But it is one of those things where you're like, is that a cuckoo? I'm not sure. And if you're not sure, it's probably not. When you hear it, you're like, oh, that's definitely a cuckoo. That's when you know you have a cuckoo. Because it just sounds, it's such a strong, strident call when they do it. Chats are loud too, but it's different. It's very resonant when a cuckoo does it. So you really want to really be pretty careful with that. Okay, so then another one that can sound incredibly similar is the roadrunner, which makes sense because they're related. You know, roadrunners are in the cuckoo family. And I was almost tripped by this in the San Pedro, where we heard this call. It's a coo. Roadrunner's coo. That makes sense. They're closely related. Well, not closely related, but they are related.
Well, what are they doing in that habitat?
On the San Pedro? Yeah, they're in there. Roadrunners. We've had them down there. Because the San Pedro River is right next to desert habitat. Runs right through some lush desert habitat. And they'll come down to the river looking for lizards or whatever. Yeah, so we had a cuckoo in the San Pedro and it was calling, and it sounded a lot like a cuckoo. And then I heard a cuckoo once, and I was like, oh, where's that roadrunner? And it was a cuckoo. So they do both do that coo thing. So you got to be really careful with that. And then where we're going to be in these higher elevations is a problem I never had to deal with in the lower San Pedro, which is the fact that trogons can sometimes make some pretty weird sounds that could sound sort of similar. So that's a trogon barking. Which doesn't really sound that much like a cuckoo, but I could see it being something that would really kind of throw you for a loop. So we really want to be aware that trogons are in these habitats too, and I think they're going to be in these same habitats a lot because they're looking for the same things. They like the large, soft-bodied prey items, and they like that lush vegetation. Okay, so, and cuckoos are also sometimes silent, so you really want to be watching in all directions because sometimes they'll just come in. You okay? Okay. So, the power surge. Computer's back on, but
Did the light burn out or something?
no, it's like it turned off.
Maybe it was just over here.
Multiple switch. Okay. One was once doing a survey, and someone else was up on the uplands kind of watching it happen, I don't remember why, and they watched the person, playing the call and then walking, and this other observer who was further away saw a cuckoo following the guy the whole length, and he never saw it. He never noticed it. Because when he got to the end, and the guy's like, you had that cuckoo, right? He's like, I didn't detect any on the survey. So they're sneaky, and they're very, very intelligent animals. Okay, so very sneaky and intelligent. All right, so then kind of the visual part of the workshop here, which is this is what we all hope to see. We hope to see the cuckoo standing there with a caterpillar in its mouth for the young, like, isn't that perfect? And this does happen sometimes. I wish this picture was taken in the East. But anyway, this does happen sometimes. And I mean, you can see it's a very attractive bird. They're quite large. They're larger than you'd think. They're about 12 inches long. They're a large bird. And they have this beautiful brown back and wings and a pure white throat in front. Nice long tail, which we have another better picture of in a minute. And this really cool yellow bill gives them their name. They have this cool yellow ring on the eye. They're a really attractive bird. But this is what you usually see. This is what you're lucky to see. They're very up in the trees. I often will detect them high up, but sometimes they're like right low too. It just depends. They're foraging at all vegetation layers. You're just looking for those large insects, caterpillars, cicadas, that kind of thing. And they will sometimes be sitting. You can sometimes see them through a vegetation window up above you because they're looking down at you too. So sometimes they're in a window looking down at you, or sometimes they're hidden by the leaves, just barely peeking out behind the leaves, and you really can't see them. And I've also seen them do this. They have that brown back and they know it. And they will get against a brown branch and turn that back to you, and they look just like the part of the tree. So just the way trogons will sometimes hide their red when they're trying to get sneaky to go like this, you can see the green chest and they're trying to hide. Cuckoos will do the same thing. They'll turn their back and hide that white front that's so visible. And the nests are even harder to find. Before we saw that one in Montosa last summer, I had never actually seen a nest. And I detected, dozens of territories by seeing the adults or hearing them, but had never actually found a nest. So they're pretty large stick nests in a tree branch. So this one looks like it's in maybe a box elder. And then I found one in an oak. So they're actually they're pretty visible once you see them, but it's one of those things where you're just not going to see them unless you happen to be in the right spot, where you see movement or the adult moves or something like that. Okay, so this is what I see most often. It's the cuckoo fly. So they will flush. Like sometimes if you play the call and they want to come in closer and investigate, they'll fly in. Or if you don't realize one's there, if you walk a little too close and it feels uncomfortable, it'll flush away. And this is what I often see, is them just sort of like, was that a cuckoo? Because they fly out. And there's some strategies that will help you decide on the spot, that was a cuckoo. And it's not going to be seeing the yellow bill. It's not going to be anything like that. Cuckoos have a shape. Yes. They have a couple things going on. One is they have that bright white throat and belly, which they can't hide when they fly. They also have this lovely rufous in the wings. You guys can see that, but it's a lovely sort of reddish shade, and it really shows. It's in the underwing too. It really shows when they fly. They give you this impression of rufous and white when they fly with that brown back. But they also have this really cool tail, and it's similar to a roadrunner tail. If you've ever seen when they hold that roadrunner tail and it's got spots on the ends, cuckoos have a very similar thing going on. But it's not as big in proportion to their body, but it's a long tail, and it does have this blackish tail underneath with these white spots. So then when they fly, when you see just the back, they have that nice brown back. So sometimes you don't see the white, but again, that rufous in the wings, reddish in the wings. But you got to be kind of careful because there are some other birds that show reddish in the wings too. Ash-throated flycatcher, which isn't nearly as large, but it is also long-tailed. But they fly pretty differently than a cuckoo. Cuckoos kind of do this torpedo thing where the whole body is completely stretched out, flat, real long tail, and then big broad wings with rufous in them as they fly. But you gotta be careful of flickers too. Northern flickers have some red in the wing. I mean, this isn't too likely to happen, but you just want to always kind of keep that in mind. Like, that was not a flicker, that was not an ash-throated flycatcher, that thing was a cuckoo. So then because sometimes they'll do that and not call. So here we go. That's a nice long tail on that bird. It is long, and it's got those nice spots. You know, underneath you can see the spots too. Big, nice white in the belly. They're really quite attractive bird. Does anybody have any questions on this? Questions on surveying or anything else that we covered? Questions about cuckoos? Yes.
Do they nest all through the summer then? Because you said August.
You know, I didn't mention that. That's actually a really, really good question. So it was when they nest was the question. And cuckoos have, the Western Yellow cuckoo has an amazing schedule that they keep. I actually find this amazing. They show up in June. I think some of them are probably still showing up right now. They're usually all here though by July. And they will find a spot. They usually settle on their spot by early July, a territory that the male and female have worked out and get all the other cuckoos away. They build the nest, lay the eggs, and those chicks are fledged within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, those chicks are fledged. They are fast. So cuckoos are officially the last spring migrant to arrive in the United States, and they are out of here as quick as they can. They are gone at the end of August.
You mean
So-
2 weeks from the time they lay the eggs till they fledge?
Yeah. Now the fledglings are still dependent on the parents. They don't fly yet. They just kind of clamber around the trees for another 2 weeks. So it takes them about a month
Are
to
they
get.
precocial then?
No, they're not precocial, but they're sort of close. Like they're in the nest for, a week or more. But when they get out and they're running around, I've seen them do this. It's crazy. Look at little velociraptors just scrambling around up in the treetops. And they don't fly yet, but they hop and they jump and they run around up there. And they're catching some of their own food, and the parents are bringing them food still. So they're still dependent on the adults for up to 2 weeks. And this is pretty outlined, very detailed in the protocol. They talk about the natural history of the bird. But they are very, very fast breeders.
Yeah.
They're quick. And
So it's such
they
a
want
big
those big
bird
insects.
that
They're big, yeah.
That length of time doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but all you figure is they're feeding those young incredibly nutritious food with these large insects that they're feeding them, and they are just on a quick timeline, and they don't waste any time. They're in, they nest, and they're out of here by the end of August. And there's usually some that kind of hang around. When I saw that one feeding young at Peña Blanca Lake, it was the end of August, right at the end of August. So I think some of them are on a little bit later schedule, but by September, certainly they're gone. Headed back down to South America. So they're on a really interesting nesting schedule, very, very fast. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, I want to stop recording.